Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir sponsor Lu Nishmas Am Yakushon Lev Hasitzchok. We're holding Basra of Kuftet Zayin. We're starting in the words Omar B'Yochanan, which is about 7 lines at the top. Omar B'Yochanan Shum Shim Ben Yochai. B'Yochanan says the name of Shim Ben Yochai. Kol She'inoi Meniach Ben Liyorshoy. Someone does not have a son to inherit him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mole Olav Evra. Kadosh Baruch Hu gets very angry in him. We learned in our pasuk that we just dashed before that you move the nachlo. So when you don't have boys, you have kas. Says now we'll see in a moment what does this mean. Let's just continue first to see the context of the Gemara. There's no chalif, there's no hemshech to him, there's no yiras Hashem. Someone doesn't have a boy, he's not your Elokim. Doesn't have a talent. So what is saying there, B'Yochanan talent. Everyone one says talent. B'Yochanan didn't guide me that siroi beer. B'Yochanan will go around and show a bone. The Rashbam says it's a tooth, so it won't be tummy. He goes around and told people, he went to the Beit Nichum Avelim, and says, people that lost the kid, he says, this is the bone of my 10th kid that died. So I lost 10 kids. So what he's starting, the B'Yochanan Do'amar Talmid. So the B'Yochanan did not say boy, his son. Why? Because the B'Yochanan lost all his sons, says the Rashbam. And if you were to tell me someone has those sons is not the Yoreh Elokim, so the B'Yochanan is Mefaris and Mischait. It's not really, look at the Rashbam says, so it has no children. You want to say that. You should not go around saying chait. So he's the one who said a talmud. Someone doesn't have a talmud. So B'Yochanan said talmud. Shubin said son. Shubin never went to a Beis Hillel because he was learning, except someone does not have children. He died without children. He cried to the one who goes. Someone who goes without a child, without a son, you go and cry for him even more. Mashra, you don't have a time against him that he's not your Elokim. He's a Talmud. When Shubin Levi who Domar Talmid, Rabbi Yochanan Omar Ben. Yochanan is the one who said son. Kash Rabbi Yochanan, he's the one going around with the bone, showing that his son's kids died. Like Asher, Hadidei Adirabeh. He all held that not having a son is not a problem. But he said in the name of Shir Bar Yochai that not having a son is a problem. Now, first of all, how is Rabbi Yochanan arguing with Shir Bar Yochai? Shir Bar Yochai is a Tana. Rabbi Yochanan is an Amoyu. So one explanation brought down, the first bring by Gadata, you could argue, even a Moira or Natana. Interesting. What is the case over here? Why is the Kadosh Baruch Hu angry when someone doesn't have children? So the Yad Ramah says, we talk about somebody who's low period of review. He didn't get married, or he didn't try to have children. So the first we ask them, what do you mean? The Gemara brings around from Rabbi Yochanan, who had children, he had 10 kids. And the kids died. Let's see, maybe a good Yad Ramah, the Rabbi Yochanan, he had a different drasha, and that speaks about someone who has kids, but not the drasha of Yom Evro, of Loshen Kas. It's a little doichek, the Rishonim don't agree with that, so we'll leave that Yad Ramah with Tzorech here. So what's Shat? Someone doesn't have children, someone lost his children, what do you want for him? So as Mashra from the Rashbam says, it's a simon, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is angry at him. And that's what the Rabbi Mizrachi and Chumash brings. And this is what says the Chazal Sofer over here. Because the Chazal says that everybody has a shoyish of Torah that has to come from him, if not from him, from his children. And if he dies, that shoyish closes. So it's a bad simon. It's a simon mishamayim that doesn't have children. Just to mention that the Kliyakar says, and the Vilna Kohen goes in a similar malach, that what it means is, means he doesn't have a son who will be in his level, who will replace him, who's going to be in his level of Torah and Yerushalayim. That's what it means, liyorsha. He has a child, but he didn't educate him. So that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu is angry at him. That makes it a little bit better to understand. There's the more it says this. Dosh Pinchas ben Chal Ma'idechtivi Hadad Shema b'Mitzrayim Kishochav David im Avoisov v'chimeis Yoav Saratzovos. It says by David that he died, he laid Shochav, and Yoav died. David Nimmer b'Shchivo b'Yoav Nimmer b'Miso. Why by David it says that he lay down, and by Yoav it says that he died. So David shiniach ben. David had a son. Nimmer b'Shchivo. Shchiva means to lay down, but he has a son continuing. Yoav shaloiniach ben doesn't have a son. Nimmer b'Miso. He died. So over Yoav loiniach ben, Yoav did not have a son. V'chti b'bnei Yoav u'vatro ben Yechiel. Elo David shiniach ben kamoisoi. He had a son like him at the same level as we said before. Never was Shchiva. He laid down. He's continuing to live. In other words, the son continues the father. So if the father has a son, he's not dead. He's just laying down. But if he doesn't, he died. Torash, Rav Pinchas ben Chamo, kosher news Adam, to be poor, poverty, is worse. Is greater than 50 plagues. Ear was crying that Kishboch's hand hit him. Now it says by Mitzrayim, Etzbei, Elohim on 10 makis. So if Ear got hit by a hand, that means he got 50 makis. His friends told him, don't complain. This is better, these 50 makis, than poverty. Poverty is the worst. To be poor. And as the Rishonim point out here, Ear did not lose all his money, even though it's a mashmos at the beginning they did lose. He didn't lose everything. He had stuff. He wasn't poor, and therefore he should be happy. Someone who has a sick in his house. He should go to a chacham to daven. When you have the anger of the king, so then you have malach moves. And the Yeshiva can take it away. So then from here it's a source to go to Chacham to ask for brachas. And there's interesting discussion in the poskim, especially Hasidic poskim. What if a person's about to die and he needs to get a feel from a rabbi, but the rabbi is not here? Could he do Chilul Shabbos to go to have a bracha from the rabbi? So the poskim say no, because the only Chilul Shabbos he can do is only things which al derech hateva we know works. This is not derech hateva, we know it works. But it's not fully you can do Chilul Shabbos for it. But interesting discussion, can you do it or not? Is a refuah not natural? Yes, natural. So the Gemara, always as we learned in the Mishnah, anybody who's koidim, his children come before anybody else, the father comes first. You have a grandfather and you have an uncle. We're talking about Nichsei Esov. The Rambam says why Nichsei Esov. We don't talk about Yaakov dying. If you have to give an example, prefer to say Esov. So we say Nichsei Esov, right? So you have Avraham and Yishmael to inherit Esov. Yishmael is the uncle, and Avraham is the grandfather. Who goes first? The father comes first, and therefore what? Nimtza, says the Rashbam, last Rashbam in the Amud. Nimtza Avraham Yerush Yitzchok. Mikamei Yishmael. Avraham gets it for you. They both coming from Yitzchok. Avraham comes from Yitzchok, the father, and Yishmael comes from Yitzchok. As Reikil Yerush Yitzchok gets Esau, as if Yitzchok inherited Esau. The Chayzer Avraham Yerush Yitzchok. Then the father comes. The father always goes before the brother, so I have to choose the father of the father, the brother of the father, the father for the brother goes first. So he says, so what was the question of Rabbi Chama? Similar that Kuftet Zayin and Mudbeis, Agav Orchi Lo Yinbo, because he was so Charif, he did not be Ma'ayin. What does it mean so Charif? It says Rashbam over here, Shayat Toy B'Sheila Acheres L'Kamon, the different, he had a better question. It was bigger than that question, so this question he asked without focusing too much. What is the question? Avia ve'ochiv. You have the grandfather and you have the brother of the deceased. Avram v'Yaakov b'nichseis. Esav dies. His brother is Yaakov. And you have Avram, who comes first. Ezemim koidem. Omarova toshma. Right? The father comes first. So meaning, the father comes first. Which father comes first? You have meaning Yitzchak comes first. Who gets after Yitzchak? The father. So you should go from Yitzchak to his father Abraham. Now, according to this Havamina of the Gemara, there's no such thing as mishmush, as the first point out. Right? Meaning, Yitzchak dies, so it's supposed to be going to his sons. You go instead to the father. You have to say that according to the Havamina, the Acharim discuss it, Shmuel Rozovsky talks about it, that once you talk about mishmush, once someone dies, where it goes to, the Gemara understands right now, you don't have the Seder of Nachlo. So if he's alive, so then it goes to the next. So it goes to the next one. Because it's dead, it goes to somebody. Maybe it doesn't go and say the nachlo. So says no, but you go before the yitzarech of his son, right? In other words, sorry, the father comes before his own children, but not before the children of his son. That makes sense. What's the rule? Before we get to the clouds, what is the answer? No. When you have the Esav dies, it goes to Yitzchak the father. If Yitzchak is not there, then it goes to Yaakov. Why? Because Yaakov is the one who is the child of Yitzchak. So he's the most inherited. Before it goes to everyone, first his kids and the other kids. It says the Gemara, that makes sense. Why it makes sense? That's the rule. Anybody who's in Nachlo, his children comes first. If Yitzchak goes alive, he gets it first. If Yitzchak's not here, it goes to his son Yaakov. Shramino. So in other words, we always go first to the kids, then to the father. So the Esav dies, he doesn't have children. You go first to the kids, goes to his father. Who's his father? Yitzchak. Then first goes to the kids of Yitzchak, Yaakov. If there's no Yaakov, then it goes to Avraham. That's always it goes. Maybe just see a few lines here in the Rishbam, the top, a very long Rishbam goes through all the examples, but just see the beginning. Someone's not here. Yitzchak was alive. Always the sons go first. And then he goes on to say Salat Nachos. Now just 1 hour before we end, the mashmos over here, and the problem is always beferish, is that a brother inherits through the father. Remember, in the beginning of the sugyas of Yeshleichlim, we brought a chakir of the Achorim. Is the brother inherit directly or through the father? Nafkamina, one of the Nafkaminas is that the father has a lender. Does the lender take it first? Here's Mashra, what happens? Esav dies. It doesn't go straight to it goes first to Yitzchak, his father. If there's no Yitzchak, Yaakov gets it because of his father Yitzchak, not because of Esav. Mashra goes through Mishmush also by the brother. Here is one of the rayas that the Rishbam L'chor at least holds that it comes through a Mishmush and not directly a brother from a brother. And if, for example, the father has a lender, the lender will come first. We'll continue for the next half at the Mishnah Be'ezer Hashem.